Welcome everybody, Film Fan 108 here. Now, in my Blu-ray pickups videos, I show you guys everything that I got for that particular month. And usually I show you everything. I talk about all the features and I talk about the movies themselves. But last month was actually an exception because if you watched the November pickup video, I showed you guys at the end that I got a package in the mail from Scream Factory. It was actually this 4-film collection that I was really anticipating opening up, and I basically didn't show it in the video because I figured there was so much to talk about with that release. The movies and the special features and everything to just talk about and discuss that it felt like it needed to be its own video. And so here I am talking about the release that I got from Scream Factory, and that is none other than the Kritters Collection right here, guys. Look at that awesome art right there with the critters on the cover there. Really, really cool. On the side there, you'll see even more critters right there. And also on the back, more critters. Very, very cool artwork as well, guys. This is a fantastic box here. It is a hard shell box. It is really, really great. Definitely sturdy. It looks great. It came really well packaged, no damage. I was absolutely very happy with this release right here, guys. And when you take it out here, you have the 4 Blu-rays worth of movies right here and a lot of stuff here. You have the first Critters right here that has the art of the critter on the front cover here. Now this is just the artwork here. There's also artwork on the back as well. And you can see the artwork right there. It's sort of them like coming down and like sort of a comet thing with like the teeth there. Actually very cool. I'm actually probably going to switch it over to this artwork, guys, because I think this looks really good. I don't know whether this was the theatrical art or not. I'm thinking it was, or maybe the home video art. Definitely let me know, guys. So I am switching over to this art right here. Very, very nice art right there, guys. You also have Critters 2 with the critter on the cover and the 2 wrapped around him. Not bad of a cover here, but you also get art on the other side as well, guys. You get the art of the critter ball right here. Yeah, that looks really cool. I am definitely going to switch it over to this artwork, guys. I imagine this was the theatrical art or the home video art. See, the thing about it is there's so much different art sometimes between the theatrical and the home video release. So definitely let me know, guys. But yes, definitely this artwork is killer. I love this artwork here, guys. You also end up getting the artwork for Critters 3 right here, which it has sort of the critter bursting out of like the city landscape or something. Not bad art right here, guys. But you also end up getting the other art on the back, which is sort of the critters almost like flying through sort of the downtown landscape there. I actually like this cover quite a bit. I am definitely going to switch it over to this one too, guys. I think it actually looks really, really cool here. I don't know whether this was the home video release poster or not. I don't really know. Again, there's so much different artwork here, guys. And I know there's been a few artwork for the Critter series over the years. So I don't know which one is which, but I definitely do really like this one a lot, guys. That one actually looks really cool. And also over here, you have Critters 4 right here. The same type of artwork as Critters 3, instead of like him busting out of like city landscape, it's more like space and stars. Again, not bad, but again, we have art on the other side as well. And the art we get here is... This is really cool. I like this one with the spaceship and the critter there and some sort of explosion in the background. I actually like this one a lot. I actually am really interested in having this one over the other one. I definitely am going to do that. Very, very cool artwork as well. In fact, I really love the artwork for all of the stuff. I actually think it's actually really, really good here. I like the art here. Very, very cool. Definitely going to have this on this side as well. And I think all of the artwork is very cool. Again, Critters 4, Critters 3, Critters 2, Critters 1. A lot of really cool releases here, guys. Some really wonderful stuff, man. I really am happy to have this set. It looks absolutely gorgeous and beautiful right here, guys. And again, as I said, a very sturdy case, man. This thing is going to hold up really, really well, I imagine. Very, very cool here. But that is not the only thing that I got in the package as well, guys. I got a couple of posters from Scream Factory here in the sort of cardboard tube that they end up shipping out all the time. I honestly was a little worried, guys, because, you know, I've gotten some packages from Scream Factory and the posters have been a little damaged. I'm not the only one. I know there's a lot of you out there that have had issues with them. And I was like, oh god, I didn't want these to be damaged because I'm going to have to contact Scream Factory and it's just going to be a whole thing again. And you just never know sometimes with Scream Factory now. The way they package these posters can be a little haphazard at times. But guys, I am very thankful to say that mine did not come damaged at all. They came in perfect, pristine condition right here. I was very, very happy, guys. A very happy man indeed. So let's check out the posters that came with this release here. And the first poster that came with it is, the Kritters Collection poster here, which is basically just the wraparound of the hard shell package there, which is actually really cool. I really love this one with the critters and everything, and they're just like with the teeth out and everything. Actually, really cool art here, guys. I really like this one a lot. This is definitely going to be one that I definitely have to frame for sure. This one looks really good here. And the other one that I got is actually an exclusive poster, and that is this one with basically the critter sort of coming out, breaking out of like Earth or something like that, and they're sort of like flying through space, attacking, and it's actually really cool art here. I actually really like this one a lot, guys. This is definitely getting framed. I really like this one a lot. And yeah, I am very happy. I got 2 posters from Scream Factory in perfect condition, not damaged at all. I am actually really relieved about that. Very relieved indeed, guys. I'm so happy that was not damaged at all because that would have been a real clusterfuck if it was, guys. But no, man, I'm really happy with the posters. I'm really happy with this. This is solid. It looks gorgeous. It's going to look gorgeous in the collection, guys. But that is actually not all that I am going to be talking about here, guys, because I am going to do a full-on review of all of the discs, the special features, the movies themselves. I'm going to show off a few things here, guys, so definitely come join me as I go through each disc and each movie talking about everything that's included here. So let's start it off with disc 1. On to disc 1 right here, guys, none other than Kritters right here. And I have on the Blu-ray menu screen in order for you guys to check out what the screen looks like. As you can see, it has the design of the critter on there, the logo, and of course, scenes from the movie. And this movie's from 1986, guys, and man, do I really love this movie. You know, I gotta admit that I have not watched any of the Critters films in a long time, so getting this box set and revisiting a lot of these films has been a real pleasure. It's been really, really awesome to check this stuff out. And, you know, my thoughts on the movie is that I really enjoy it, guys. It's a really great slice of PG-13 horror from the 80s. And even though it's PG-13, it's still pretty gruesome for PG-13. You definitely get to see a lot of gruesome stuff. The critters really chomping on people. I mean, you still get to see a lot for PG-13. They don't hold back at some points here. I mean, it still is really, really well done. It has some of the good gore in here. It has some of the good blood effects as well. I really love the design of the creatures. The critters themselves are just really fascinating. I love the miniature design of them. I love the eyes. I love the face. I love just everything about them. They're not only really like sort of eye-catching, you really love looking at them, but they're really vicious as well, so you get this sort of like thing of like they're cute, but at the same time they're ferocious and vicious, and you don't want to fuck with them. It's an interesting combination, but I think it works honestly really well, guys. I really love it a lot. The acting here, Dee Wallace is great here. The alien, one of them played by Terrence Mann, who plays Ugg. He does a really great job in here as well. Charlie, of course, as well, played by Don Opper, does a really great job here as well. Everybody does a really, really good job in this movie, guys. They're relatable. I like the family. They're not annoying. I don't want to see them killed. They're an all-Americana type of family, and you care for them. You care what happens to them. You care about the story. You care about the characters. Yeah, you know what? I really did like the movie again, rewatching it, guys. I mean, the thing about it that you have to understand is that Gremlins came first. So a lot of these movies that came after Gremlins were sort of ripping off Gremlins in some way, shape, or form, right? But I think the best of them is Critters, guys. I think it's actually one of the best ones out there. It is really, really well done, guys. It's so imaginative. I love the sci-fi aspects to it. I love what I love about it again is the critters. I feel like the critters are really cool, like creature design, and you want to get to know more about them and what happened with them in space and just you. I think I'm very fascinated by those creatures, and I think going forward in the series, I just love them even more. I love what they do. I love the comedy of it. I love just them attacking people. I kind of almost wish we get more of them killing people. I just wish we would. If you notice throughout all these films, it's kind of light in like critters killing people. Sometimes I wish we would get just a mass slaughter of people like from critters, but these films don't really do that. They're not high budget movies, guys, but they actually are really, really well done. It's a really, really great, honestly, really well done movie, and it's just a great slice of the 80s. I really love it a lot, guys. And this release here on disc 1 is jam-packed with special features, guys. Let's sort of check this out here. You have They Bite, the making of Critters right here, guys. And it runs about an hour and 11 minutes long. And you get a whole lot of people involved in talking about this movie. You get Dee Wallace, you get Don Opper, you get Barry Opper, who is the producer, you get Terrence Mann, you get the Kyoto brothers talking about the critters themselves, the design of them, why they went with the red eyes. They talk about also what kind of hair they used on the critters as well. I believe it was, what was they said? It was moose pelt for the hair, which is very, very interesting. They went with something that looked a little more coarse and rough, and it definitely worked. You also get here miniature effects supervisors, other producers, director of photography. You get a bunch of special effects people talking about the movie, talking about the making of it. You also get the screenwriter Brian Muir talking about the movie. Now, he actually passed away not too long ago, but they have footage of him from February 2018 talking about the movie, talking about his experiences making it, talking about what he thought of the movie, what he thought of what it meant for the 80s, what it meant for his career. They talk about all of that stuff here. Yes, it's a really, really great in-depth documentary, guys, and it is over an hour long. Like I said, really in-depth, some really, really great conversations here that you get with the people. They clearly loved making the movie, and you could tell. And the one interesting fact I do want to say about the documentary, guys, there's a lot of great fun facts here, so I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but the fact that Brian Muir talks about the fact that he wrote this movie when he was 19. and he wrote it before Gremlins ever existed. So the idea that it's a ripoff of Gremlins is kind of true because Gremlins came first, but the idea that he wrote it before Gremlins was even pitched or an idea. So the idea that he couldn't get it made until Gremlins was a success is kind of half and half. You know, it kind of sucks that he couldn't have made this first, but at the same time, he still got to have it made, and it's a great piece of like crazy sci-fi horror insanity, and you gotta appreciate that, guys. So that's a great documentary there. You also have For Brian, a tribute to screenwriter Dominic Muir here, and that runs about 21 minutes long, and there's a lot of his friends, a lot of screenwriter friends in here. Shane Bitterling, who was the screenwriter of Puppet Master, X, I believe it is. You also get Thomas Calloway, who is the director of photography, talking about him. You get Barry Opera, the producer. C. Courtney Joyner, another screenwriter of Prison. He talks about him as well. And there's a lot of footage of Brian Muir as well. They really pay tribute to him, man. Just talking about his life, talking about, you know, him making this movie. Another interesting fact about this, guys, is that he actually was supposed to direct Critters. It was actually down to a coin toss between him and another person, and he lost the coin toss. But he really did want to direct this movie, but unfortunately he lost the coin toss and the other guy directed it. Still, the movie came out great, but it was always sort of something that he wished he would have done. But they talk about just his career, his life, just the great impact he had on people, and the fact that he died way too soon, guys. He was 48 years old. That is young. He died young. He died of a form of cancer. Really, really shame that he died. He seemed like a really relatable guy in the interviews. Just a really warm-hearted, talkative guy. Seems very nice. Shame we've lost him. But he'll always have this movie, and that's really, really great, guys. You also get here behind-the-scenes footage, and that runs about 12 minutes long. It basically shows a lot of stuff with the Kyoto brothers working on the Critters. It shows some of the making of certain scenes with the family. Just regular behind-the-scenes stuff. Nothing really special here. You get alternate ending, which actually, interestingly enough, this ending was actually the original ending when they ended up testing the movie out, guys. They tested the movie with this ending, and Bob Shea, who was the head of New Line at the time, he said they needed to change the ending to make it a little bit more upbeat, and they switched it up a little bit. But crazy enough, some of the prints of the movie actually end up having this alternate ending on it. So when this movie came out in theaters, you could have seen this ending, or you could have seen the alternate ending. So you never knew which one you were going to get until you were actually in the theater watching the movie at the time, which was really bizarre. But yes, that is the alternate ending where the house is still destroyed and everything like that. That is the official alternate ending, so that's on here as well. You get the theatrical trailer, TV spots, and still gallery right here, guys. There is a lot of stuff to chew on with this disc, guys. It is so, so wonderful that Scream Factory put the time and effort into making Critters here. Just a great collector's edition with a great documentary. And just so you guys know, that's not all that you get. You also get right here, you get a commentary with producer and star Barry Opper and Don Opper talking about the movie. They have great talks about the development of the movie. Don Opper talks about the character of Charlie and how he approached it, how he approached the bounty hunter. Very interesting discussions with these guys. Really, really well done here. You also get a commentary with critter designers, all of the Kyoto brothers here. They talk about all of the cool gags that they did, making of the critters themselves, the process that they went through, and the fact that this movie, guys, the Kyoto brothers had not made Killer Clowns from Outer Space yet. So this movie came out before killer clowns from outer space ever got made. So that's really fascinating. And they talk about that stuff and everything. Very interesting stuff that they talk about. It's a really, really great disc, guys. So much information, guys. It is really, really well done. I would highly recommend checking this disc out. So much stuff to check out, and such a great classic 80s movie. Wonderful sci-fi horror mix. Really, really love it, guys. So on to disc 2, guys. Alright, guys, disc 2, Kritters 2 right here, guys. And again, the Blu-ray menu screen where you get to see the design of the menu right here with the critter and the 2 there, the number Kritters 2, and of course scenes from the movie right here, guys. And from 1988, another wonderful slice of the 80s here, guys. And as far as sequels go, this is actually really good, guys. I really do enjoy this sequel quite a bit. I really love how they delve more into the critters. They show more of the eggs. They show more abilities that the critters can do, like, of course, all coming into a ball and forming and rolling and everything like that. I love them showing more of that stuff. They do more stuff with the bounty hunters. They definitely have more sci-fi elements in here, and I think it definitely works for the movie a lot. I love, of course, them bringing back a lot of really great characters from the first film as well. They didn't bring back everybody, but they definitely brought back, you know, a couple of the fan favorites from the first film. And, of course, some newer characters, which I think were really well developed. I thought they were all really, really good here. I love the acting here. I really love the special effects. Any stuff with the critters I absolutely fucking love. I love how vicious they are. They're even more vicious than the first film, which I really love. Just more chomping down, more blood and gore effects, man. Just really over the top, ridiculous stuff. The comedy here works as well. It definitely has more of a comedy feel than the first film does, but I think it actually works for the movie quite a bit. It actually is really, really good here, guys. Yeah, it's just a really solid sequel. I really did enjoy it, man, and it's different from that first film, but I think it kind of is. It complements the first film in a really nice way. Also, I definitely did enjoy it, man. I thought it was probably one of the better sequels from the '80s. To be honest with you, it really worked in a big bad way. I really enjoyed it, guys. For a sequel, yeah, Kritters 2, man, right up there for me. And this disc, guys, has quite a bit as well, just like the first disc here. You get the main course, the making of Kritters 2 right here, guys. Now, this runs about an hour and 2 minutes long, so slightly less than that first documentary for the first Kritters film. But there is a lot of really great stuff here, a lot of really great people to talk to. They talk to Mick Garris, the director. They talk to Barry Opper, the producer, Terrence Mann, the Kyoto brothers, Leanne Curtis, who played Megan. They talked to Lynn Shay, Don Opper, who played Charlie. Even they talked to Dee Wallace as well. Some interesting stuff here. Dee Wallace talks about how they didn't ask her to be a part of it. They didn't really put anything out there. She would have liked to be a part of it, but they didn't really end up really talking to her about this or anything, which is a real shame because she would have been really cool coming back in the film. But no, she was not that. They also talk about bringing back certain people like Lynn Shay, and how Lynn Shay had a more expanded role, and how she just brought a lot to the table, and the fact that putting her in the movie was, of course, a great thing because of her being Bob Shay's sister, and of course Bob Shay running New Line, and of course, putting her in as sort of, a goodwill to Bob Shay, but also it paid off in a big bad way because she's actually really good in the movie as well. So that paid off as well. They also talked to the Kyoto brothers, and the Kyoto brothers have a lot of really wonderful stuff here, man. Talking about the the great effects that they got to do, the fact that there was a bigger budget, the fact that they got to do more crazier and wild effects, like that huge critter ball that they really go in depth talking about, and just all of the really cool, interesting gags that they did, stuff in like the diner and everything like that. Really cool stuff from them. And, you know, even talking to Mick Garris, and basically this was Mick Garris's first film that he really directed. You know, he would go on to make other stuff like Psycho 4, Sleepwalkers, and other stuff like that, but this was the first film that he ever really got to direct as a major motion picture, and this one always has a soft spot in his heart. He talks about, you know, the challenges that he had making this film, what he thought about making a sequel to the first film, the pressures of it, the people that he worked with. Yeah, it's a really great in-depth documentary, guys. They talk a lot about the film, a lot of really great stuff, and it felt like they really had a great time making this movie. A different feel than the first one, but they definitely still enjoyed what they got to do. A really great documentary here, guys. You also get here TV cut additional scenes, and these were just scenes that were added to the TV cut, you know, just to maybe pad it out a little bit more and to maybe take away a little bit of the violence. Even though this is PG-13, you still get to see a lot of chomping on of people. It definitely shows the critters really being very vicious, so yeah, they needed to tone things down a little bit. The TV cut additional scenes, you know, they're basically, you know, just a lot of character stuff, a little add-on here, a little snippet there, nothing really major. It goes on for about, I would say about 12 minutes or so. It probably does. Nothing really major as far as those scenes are concerned. You also get here behind the scenes footage right here, guys. Now that runs about 23 minutes long, and basically it's like almost like what you would consider an HBO special. Just with this reporter talking to the Kyoto brothers and the making of the critter designs and the critters in the movie, and talking to the director and all of them. And basically it's got some really cool gags in it that they show, behind the scenes footage of them like working the puppets and everything. Really cool stuff, actually, and it's kind of a cool little featurette from like the 80s, which was really, really nice. I like that one a lot, guys. You also get theatrical trailer, TV spots, and still gallery right here. A lot of really cool stuff here to chew on for that. And on top of that, you end up getting here, you get a commentary with director Mick Garris here. Michael Felcher ends up talking to him from Red Shirt Pictures. They have a conversation about this film, about the difficulties that when they filmed it, it was the coldest winter in that area that they had ever seen. He had to work with the difficulties of that. Working with the different actors, it being his first big studio film. The idea that this film was not a hit when it came out. This film actually bombed at the box office, guys. He actually talks about how Bob Shaye ended up having an investor who was interested in bringing money into New Line, and that this movie was being released, and he said, hey, let's go to the theater and let's see the new film that's playing for our company. And they went to the theater and it was completely dead, and the investor just did not put any money into the company because of Critters 2 and the fact that it didn't do any money for the studio. He talks about all that stuff. Really interesting commentary, guys. Really, really well done stuff here. I really, really like this commentary a lot. And you also get another commentary with the Kyoto brothers talking about all of the great effects that they did for this movie, how they upped the ante, they have more money to play with, the great effects, the stuff that they carried over from the first film, stuff that they changed. Really interesting commentary with those guys. A lot of really cool stuff to chew on with them as well. Yes, a really, really great disc. A lot of stuff from here to pick from and just to delve into. Really wonderful stuff here on this disc, guys. Scream Factory gave this the love it really, really deserves, guys, in a big bad way. And it's unfortunate that this movie bombed at the box office, guys, but I will say this much, though. that the movie honestly gained a lot of love over the course of its home video run. People found it, people loved it, and it definitely gained a big cult following in a big bad way. Mick Garris talks about that, how people come up to him, how much they love the movie. And so, I mean, the movie might not have gotten the box office that New Line wanted, but the movie, I think, eventually became a success because of home video and everything like that. And I definitely do enjoy it. It's a really great sequel, and it definitely ups the ante and brings in a little more comedy elements, but I think it's a nice compliment, as I said, to that first film, and I think it is a really well done sequel. A great slice of 80s yet again, guys. Alright, let's head on to disc 3. Kritters 3 right here, guys. Disc 3. Yes, and we're back again with another Blu-ray menu here showing off the title, a couple of critters right here in the corner, and of course scenes from the movie playing. And from 1991 here, guys. Now, this third film is kind of interesting because I think out of all of the sequels in the franchise, this one feels the one that's kind of least connected to the series. I mean, I still really enjoy it, I still really like it, but it feels like it's more disconnected from the rest of the movies. The story could have had more connections to it, we could have had more characters returning, but I still like what we get here. I mean, we get Don Opper back as Charlie, we get a cameo appearance by Ugg at the end of the movie, and of course you get the critters, and I really fucking love the critters, guys. You know, for me, man, again, I still really do enjoy the movie about these characters in this apartment complex, and they find these eggs, and of course the eggs hatch, and of course they have to fight off the critters. It's a good third film in the franchise. It's more of a low budget third film compared to the second film, and especially the first one. But I still really think it's good. I like the characters. They are very likable and very relatable and very funny. The comedy is really featured here in a big bad way, and I definitely did enjoy that. I like the comedy here as well. And the critters are still very vicious, man. They're still very vicious. I like the blood and the gore effects here as well. I like the cool sort of critter gags that they do in the movie. And they do a few things in this movie that kind of differentiate the critters from each other. Like, you know, one gets stained with bleach, and you kind of see the white hair on the critter, and it kind of differentiates it and everything. I kind of like the personalities of the critters. Actually, very cool stuff here as well. You know, I tended to enjoy this movie, guys. I think it's a creative movie. It definitely feels like it's not as big as the second film. It feels a little bit more contained as a story, and it felt like the budget was very small. But I still felt like they got a lot of bang out of their buck, and there's a lot of really cool stuff to enjoy in the movie, guys. So yeah, I do enjoy this movie for what it is. It is a pretty decent third film in the franchise, and trust me, I've seen some really bad third films and franchises, and this is nowhere near as bad, guys. It's actually pretty good, to be honest with you here. And as far as special features go here, guys, there's not much here. They really didn't do as much as they did for Critters 1 and Critters 2 here. There still is some decent stuff, though, here. You get here, You Are What They Eat, the making of Critters 3 right here. And that goes about 26 minutes long, so it's definitely a lot less compared to disc 1 and disc 2 here. You basically get only a few people really talking about the movie here. Barry Opper, the producer, the Kyoto brothers, David J. Scow, who was the screenwriter of both Part 3 and Part 4. You get Thomas Calloway, the DP, and Terrence Mann, who played Ugg. They definitely do talk about the movie. They talk about how there was a deal that they made with New Line to shoot 3 and 4 back to back. Basically, David J. Scow talked about how he was hired to write the third film, and basically someone else was going to come in to write the fourth film, and things kind of got changed a little bit, and he had to go back and write the fourth film and try to connect 3 and 4 together, and it got a little complicated at times. They basically talk about how the budget was a little bit less and how the story had to be more contained. They talk about how basically they had to be a little bit more creative in how they spent their money and the budget and everything like that. And they also talk about a few other interesting aspects. They talk about Leonardo Dicaprio here, guys. Now, this is one of Leonardo's first films. You definitely don't hear him talking about it. Definitely, certainly is not high on his resume. He still is good in the movie. Everybody really says he does a good job. They actually really liked him in the movie. Said he was really a great guy to work with. Actually, a great kid at the time. Really fun to be around. He really loved being in the creature shop with the critters and everything. And they talk about how, they really liked him from Growing Pains, his small run there, and how they wanted him for this and they got him for it. They talk about that. The Kyoto brothers talk about the gags that they did and in the third film with the critters, and how the budget was lower and how much problems they had dealing with the critters. A lot of different stuff. They talk about how the set caught on fire and how a lot of things got destroyed and they had to rework stuff. It's very fascinating. For a 26-minute documentary, you get a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to talk about here, guys. It's really very fascinating, all the stuff that happened on this one, but the fact that it came out as good as it did was really shocking. And they do end up really loving the third film. They feel the third film actually is, despite the budget issues and the constraints they had, I think everybody feels like it came out pretty damn well, be honest with you. And yeah, that's a great 26-minute documentary, guys. Really well done here. You also get a trailer, a promo, and still gallery here. Again, not much stuff to really chew on compared to the other 2 discs, but I don't think they were able to get as many people talking about this one, and certainly they weren't going to get Leonardo DiCaprio, guys. That was like a no-brainer. That was never going to happen. But that's not all that you get, guys. You also get here a commentary with producer Barry Opper and star Don Opper, who plays Charlie. This is a great audio commentary, guys. They talk about not only part 3 here, but they talk a little bit about part 4. They talk about that they wanted to go and make 3 and 4, and they had to talk to New Line. They had to convince them to do it. They had to go for a lower budget. They talked about how basically Charlie factored in and why they brought Charlie back, and the fact that he has become a fan favorite for people. They talk about a lot of the actors here. They talk about Leonardo. They talk about the critters. They talk about all of the issues that they had on set. A really fascinating and wonderful audio commentary with these guys, man. They had a blast making these films. You could tell by the audio commentary. It's a really fun one to listen to, guys. I really enjoyed it a lot. And other than that, that is all you get for the features, guys. It's a shame. I would have liked to see a little bit more features, but you know what? I'm glad they still gave it the love it deserves. Again, I really like that 26-minute documentary, and the commentary here was really appreciated by those 2 guys. So for me, this disc is well worth it, guys. And the movie, for a third film, I think it works. It's not spectacular. It's not great. It's not as good as parts 1 and 2, but I do really enjoy this film, guys. And for me, you know what? I think that it's a solid third entry in this series. And for 1991, you still get a lot of great creature effects. And we're not in that CGI territory yet, and I really did enjoy that. I really like seeing these practical effects, and the critters are still badass. I still love them. So yeah, this is definitely a worthy film in the series, guys. So let's head on to disc 4. Alright, guys, disc 4 right here with Kritters 4. And another Blu-ray menu screen to show off for you guys. The menu design here, the Kritters 4 logo, and the critters on top of a moon, sort of crater-like base there. Very interesting there. And, of course, scenes from the movie playing also. Now, there has been a few franchises that have gone into space. Let's rattle them off, shall we? Hellraiser in space. You have Jason Voorhees that has gone into space. I mean, hell, you've even had Leprechaun go into fucking space, guys. We've had a few of them, but the only one that's ever made real sense is the Critters franchise, because those creatures are actually from outer space. So it kind of only makes sense. And as far as the movie here goes, it's really interesting because I tend to really enjoy this one. Now, part 3 sort of left off on a cliffhanger with the character of Charlie, and part 4 sort of picks up where that left off. And for me, I really do appreciate this movie. I really do like it a lot. Yes, it's low budget. Yes, you can kind of tell at times, but I actually really like what they did with this movie, guys. I like the design of the spaceship here. I like the characters here. I think the acting is really good. I love seeing Brad Dourif in this. I love seeing Angela Bassett. It's kind of crazy to see them in a Critters 4 movie, but they did a really great job here. I think the characters are relatable. I really like the crew. And, you get to know them enough where you really don't want to see them killed. You get to know them well enough. I like that. I really love seeing the character of Charlie in here. I loved seeing Ugg as well. There's a lot of cool connections to the Critters franchise, the other films in here as well. And I really love the Critters action in here, guys. There's some really cool Critter stuff in here, guys. I love the baby Critters. I also love all the cool evolution of the Critters themselves here. There's definitely a lot of cool mythology from the Critters movies that is in this movie as well. There's a lot of great stuff to chew on with this film, and I really feel like it was such a natural fit to kind of have this go into space. And yeah, I mean, it didn't get this big theatrical push. Neither 3 or 4 never got actually into theaters. It was like straight to home video release, I believe. But I still think that for what it is, I think it's actually really well done. And out of all of the franchises that sort of have went into space, I think this one is actually probably the best of them all, just in my personal opinion. I think it's actually really good. And I really do have to appreciate Scream Factory for giving this at least some love that I believe it deserved, guys. Not as much in the way of special features as 1 or 2 or even 3, but I still think we get some really decent stuff here, guys. We get here Space Madness, the making of Critters 4 right here, and it's only 22 minutes long. You don't go in depth as you did in disc 1 or 2 or even 3. It's definitely the less amount of all of the documentaries, but there is still a lot of stuff to talk about, guys. We get here Barry Opper, the producer. We get the Kyoto brothers, David J. Scow, Thomas Calloway, the director of photography, Terrence Mann, who played Ugg, Don Opera, who played Charlie. And they talk about a lot of really great stuff here. They talk about, of course, the low budget. They talk about how they had to rework the script after the other screenwriter left. The Kyoto brothers talking about how they put most of the budget towards Critters 3 so that they didn't have a lot for the Critter budget in part 4, and that when the script changed, they asked them to do a lot of work with the Critters, more stuff that they wanted to do, but they couldn't really do all the stuff they wanted. But that they're still really happy with a lot of the cool gags that they did. They love the baby Critters. And even though they definitely had other projects that they were doing at the time and they were not as focused on this movie as they wanted to be, they're still really happy with the results, happy with what they got done, and happy with the movie overall. They really do like what they did and their accomplishments with the little budget that they had to work with here. They also talk about the spaceship design and how they thought it was really cool. They love the lighting in it as well. They also talk about a little tidbit how after the movie they loved the set so much that they wanted to shoot this low budget Roger Corman style sort of indie horror sci-fi movie on the sets after the movie wrapped, but New Line said no, and even though they tried to convince them that they weren't having it. That's a really cool story as well. You also get Terrence Mann here talking about how they turned Ugg into the bad guy in part 4, and how basically, and how he was actually really happy with that, and how basically it was something new for him to do, and he was really happy to get something to chew on as a character. And they talk about how if you look at the other films in the series and the character of Ugg, that he kind of evolves into being the bad guy. I can kind of see it. There's some similar stuff here. You also get Don Opper as Charlie, man, talking about working with Angela Bassett and Brad Dourif and how they were really cool, talking about hanging out with Angela Bassett after work and everything. And even though he hasn't seen her since making the movie, he has fond memories of her. He also talks about how fans come up to him with like tattoos of Critters, and how they feel like he's the heart of the series, and how he's really appreciative of the fans. And there's so much stuff here to chew on a 22-minute documentary. There really is a lot of stuff to talk about, and they really feel like the movie is really well done. And even though they had a lot of challenges with this movie, they feel like they accomplished quite a bit. They definitely do really love what they made here, and I really appreciated the documentary a lot, guys. Very well done here as well. You also get a trailer and a still gallery here as well. Not a ton, but you also get as well a commentary with producer director Rupert Harvey here. Now, he has actually helped produce all of the Critters films, and this is a great commentary. He talks with Michael Felcher from Retro Pictures, and Michael ends up basically doing a whole career retrospective with this guy. Talking about all the films he produced in the 80s and the 90s, talking about the Critters films, what his thoughts on them are, what his thoughts are on, filmmaking nowadays. Talks about why he decided to direct this movie, because this is actually his only directorial credit. He didn't direct anything before this. He did not direct anything after this. This was his only credit, guys. And he talks about that. He talks about working with the actors, Brad Dourif, Angela Bassett. He talks about the Kyoto brothers, the great Critters effects that he's seen over the years. A really wonderful retrospective about this guy's life and his history with Hollywood and his producing. And really amazing commentary. I love listening to this. The guy is a really down-to-earth, very interesting dude. Really loved hearing his thoughts on the whole franchise and his career in general. Very cool stuff here, guys. And yeah, I mean, again, not much special features, but I was really happy with what we got, guys. There was a lot of cool stuff regardless. Not as much as the other discs, but again, I really appreciated at least the effort to get at least some stuff on this disc. And again, I really appreciated what everyone had to say about this film. And overall, I think this is the best film out of all of the franchises that went into space, guys. I mean, like I said, it is low budget. It didn't get the theatrical run, but I really appreciate this series as a whole. I appreciate part 4, and it really feels like a final part of a series. It does feel like a proper ending for the character of Charlie. It feels like everything comes to an end. Yeah, they could have made more, and I would have loved to have seen more films in this franchise because I fucking love the Critters so much. But for me, I am really happy with part 4, and I'm really happy with the whole franchise, man. And revisiting these films was a blast, and I just can't say enough nice things about the Critters series. And again, I'm a big bad fan of the whole the effects in this stuff. The effects are really cool here, and everything well done. So I really appreciate it. And again, old school effects, not CGI. Really appreciate it, guys. I loved it so much. So well worth it, guys. In a big bad way, I loved it. Alright, guys, that will do it for the reviews and for talking about the discs and showing off the beautiful, wonderful release of the Kritters Collection right here, guys. I am just a big fan of this series, man. It's not the best, it's a little cheesy, but you know what? I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I love it. I really am so super psyched to have these in the collection. And, I know that sci-fi is, they're doing a remake or a reboot of the Critters series or something. I think they got the rights. And you know what, guys? Honestly, I'm not looking forward to that. Only because, to be perfectly honest with you, you know the critters are going to be CGI. You know the design is going to be really generic. And I just, you know what? I'm just sick of these remakes. I'm so pissed that they're redoing Critters, and I know like everything is getting a remake nowadays, and Critters was bound to happen, but you know what? It's never gonna be as good as these films, guys. These films are so wonderfully creative and inventive, and have some really cool gags and the designs, and you know what, man? You can't beat these movies, and they're just pure fun, and I really love them. And if you guys have not checked out any of the Critter series, definitely do it. You know, all the movies are PG-13, but I felt they all pushed a limit because, you know, the critters are really brutal and they're very vicious, and you know, you definitely see them killing people in a big bad way. And so I always really loved the fact that it was PG-13, but it was like a PG-13 that could scare the shit out of kids. And I always really loved that, man. Again, it's so happy to have it in the collection, and I am definitely going to cherish this. It is a great, great series of movies. A little cheesy, but you know, over the top, ridiculous as it may be, I fucking love the critter design here. I fucking love this series. And to me, it is well worth the buy, guys. So yes, definitely let me know what you think of the Kritters Collection here. What do you think of the films? What do you think of the box set? Did you really like picking this up? Definitely let me know all of your thoughts on this release, guys. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Check out the other Blu-ray and DVD out and about videos that I do on the Tuesdays. Check out the Blu-ray pickup videos I do every single month. Check out the theatrical movie reviews I do with my friends, plus so much more content that's on the channel, guys. If you're a lover of movies and physical media, hit subscribe and become a part of the Film Fan Nation. You know, guys, I have a love and a passion talking about movies. If you guys have been around the channel long enough, you see my passion. I love just talking about movies on an everyday basis, no matter what it's about. I just love pouring my heart out to you guys, and I love my subscribers. They are some of the best subscribers out there. I've always said it, but it really is true. I'm so happy to have each and every one of them on board as subscribers for this channel. So if you love what I do, you love how I talk about movies, definitely come on board and hit subscribe. And keep up to date with all the videos that I'm doing through Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, FilmFan108. Check out all of what I do from week to week, plus exclusive stuff I do from time to time as well on social media. Alright guys, I will see you back for another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Enjoy your physical media love out there, guys. Happy hunting, and stay away from critters. They can bite. See you later, guys.